Hello and welcome to the English Matura Express, the express to your success. Today's topic is how to disagree and how to agree. Hello and welcome back. My name is Maria and today's topic, again, expressing an opinion, agreeing, partially agreeing and disagreeing. Woo, that sounds great. Good, so what's the content of my presentation, so of our stream? So first of all, you'll get an overview of the dialogue and the follow-up tasks, because here you need the knowledge how to, the skills, how to disagree and how to agree, because you have a conversation with someone, as you know, I hope. Then I will give you some useful phrases and vocabulary for expressing opinions. Then you get some useful phrases and vocabulary for agreeing, for partially agreeing, for politely disagreeing. And at the end, we will practice and demonstrate how to disagree and agree. I will do it together with Chris. So yeah.
Hello.
Good. So now let's start. Okay, so as I've already told you, you have to disagree and to agree, of course, in part 2 of your A-levels. Because part 1, you all know that is a monologue. So it's just you who is speaking. So, you can, no, don't disagree with yourself. Yeah. Don't do that. Okay, but then in part 2, you are going to talk with the interlocutor. And yeah, so here, for example, it's about racism. And as you can see in red, wrong direction. As you can see in red, so it's during the conversation. So it's a conversation, you talk with the interlocutor, and so you have to react, yeah? You have to agree, you have to disagree. And then, of course, there is the follow-up discussion. And again, here it's not only the interlocutor, but also the examination board who is going to ask you some questions, and you are going to ask them some questions. And so, yeah, you have an active part, don't forget about that, yeah? In a short discussion, of course, and you ask some questions, as I've already mentioned. If you want to see how Chris did this dialogue and follow-up task, just have a look at the stream. It was like, 2 weeks ago, a demonstration exam about tolerance. Have a look at it. Good, but now let's start. So here are a lot of vocabularies and a lot of phrases. Of course, you don't have to know all of them, but I would recommend to pick some of them and always use them, yeah, that you get used to them. Because, if you have a list of about 100 phrases and vocabularies and you don't use them, that makes no sense, okay? So, first of all, useful phrases and vocabulary for expressing for expressing opinions. A very classical one is, of course, I think. But please avoid saying I think all the time. So instead of I think, you can say I consider, or I find, I feel, I believe, I suppose, I assume. So ich nehme an, yeah? Then we have the classical in my opinion and to my mind. So here is a small list of phrases where the focus is on you. So what's your opinion? Yeah, it's to my mind, as far as I am concerned, speaking personally, from my point of view, according to me. So it's about you, yeah? That's very strong. If you want it to be not that strong, you can say it seems to me, es scheint, yeah? I guess that. Ich glaube. And then if you're 100% sure, you can also say phrases like it goes without saying, or I am sure, I am certain, yeah? I have no doubt that, I am convinced that. So if you are really sure about a great argument you want to give. Good. And then we have more like, if it's more like general knowledge, you can also say it is generally accepted that, well, it is considered that, and generally it is thought that. So yeah, there are a lot of words, and as I've already mentioned, you don't have to know all of them. You don't have to learn them by heart, but just find, yeah, I guess, yeah, 5 of them and say, okay, they are nice, I like to use them, and then use them. Yeah, good. Good. Now we also have useful phrases and vocabulary for agreeing, okay? So again, classical ones, I agree with you, or I completely agree with you, I totally agree, I couldn't agree more. So that's even more agreeing. Then we have like short phrases, for example, just when you want to back channel your speaking partner, yeah? If you like, yeah. So you can also say like, definitely, absolutely, yes, of course, that's true, this is absolutely right. Very short, but here you can show, okay, I agree with your opinion, but move on with your talking. It's just like, okay, yeah, go on. Then we have some more like formal ways to agree. I see exactly what you mean. I see what you're getting at. I'd go along with that view. I share your view, or just classical again, I think so too. Then again, some like, yeah, it's all about agreeing. So just the next ones are, that's a good point, you are right, that's a good point, oh, that's convincing, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, that's a little bit colloquial, but still you can use it. I mean, yeah, it's good English. So how to partially agree? What's partially agreeing? When you agree, but not with all of it, yeah? But you still, to a certain part, you agree and you want to, yeah, present that. So you can see, you can say, I agree, but. So you can always use but. I think so too, but. Then we have I partially agree with you, or I only partly agree with you. It is partly true. Well, you could be right, but, yeah, so it's not that sure that you're right. I mean, you are right, but not really right. And yeah, I don't entirely agree with you. I don't fully agree with you. I see your point, but I agree with this point of view. But, so a lot of but, I accept that. But on the other hand, I also believe that, okay? So you see, you agree, but not fully. Then, well, I agree with you here, but have you also thought about? So you can move to the next argument or to the next step in your discussion, yeah? So you agree, but then, okay, it's my turn. I'm going to say something now. Sure, that's one way of looking at it. However, although I'd say that's almost disagreeing, because yeah, that's one way of looking at it. It's the wrong way. You are wrong. But of course, British people are polite, so that's a way how to put that in a polite way. Good. Talking about politeness. British people are very polite, and of course you're not British people, but it's an English exam, and so I think it's really helpful to know that, and so you can understand the language more. So I'll show you a little picture. I think it's quite funny. Here it is. So I hope you can see it. So it's how to be British. So which is wrong, it's on the left side, help. The British would say like, excuse me, sir, I'm terribly sorry to bother you, but I wonder if you would mind helping me a moment, as long as it's not no trouble, of course. So that's British politeness, yeah? That's an example, of course, that's not British politeness, but it's a little bit different to, wait a minute. So here we are again. It's not a little bit, but I think very different to, for example, German directness, yeah? So it's not that direct like I've mentioned before. It's more like they put things in a polite way. Yeah, let's have a look at some examples of that. Good, so how to politely disagree. What's always a good idea, you can always put like, sorry, or I'm afraid, or no offense. so nichts für ungut in front of your disagreement, yeah? That's always a choice. And then you can just add, oh, sorry, I disagree with you, or I'm afraid I don't really agree with you. So it's polite, but it's still a strong argument because you disagree, yeah? And I'm afraid I don't think so. No offense, I don't think that's quite right. I'm sorry, I think otherwise. Okay, excuse me, I'm not sure I agree with you. Then we have some more eloquent ways to politely disagree. I don't share your view. Well, I see things rather differently. I'm not sure I'd go along with that view. Well, I don't quite agree with you. So maybe they mean like, you're wrong again, but I don't quite. So again, it's really polite, yeah? I hope you get this notion there. We don't seem to agree here. And then we have some more like, they are very colloquial. And I wouldn't use them in the exam situations, but yeah, maybe you will use them one day because of course you don't learn English for the exam. I mean, yeah, basically, but English, you learn it for using it later in your life. Maybe not everyday life, but still, it's an important language. So you could say, for example, yeah, not necessarily, or not at all. Or if it's really strong, if it's a really strong disagreement, you can go for nonsense. Yeah, Blödsinn. Good. Now, yeah, practice and demonstration. So, Chris, are you ready?
Yes, I am super ready, I guess.
That's great. Do we have any questions so far?
No, not now.
Maybe you can answer us if you think that's true that British people are very polite. I mean, I don't know if you've ever met a British guy or girl or lady or whatever, and if you talk to them. But what do you think? Do you think they are very polite? Of course, not all of them, but yeah. What's your impression? Maybe answer that for us. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
I think so too. Good. But now, Chris.
I think we need to switch.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, I can't appear in the screen now since this is not possible.
Yeah, but we don't need the phrases.
We don't need
No,
need
we
phrases?
don't need them
okay.
now. Yeah,
Therefore, I can appear.
Yeah, but maybe so it's more interesting for the viewers because they don't know which statement will be the next, and the statements are very controversial. So maybe you can discuss them with us.
They're super controversial, I guess.
Super controversial.
So I need to,
So, are you ready to start?
I'm super ready.
Okay, so the game is now that I am going to read a super controversial statement, and then Chris, he disagrees or he agrees, and then we discuss it a little bit. But of course, it's not always our own opinion, so no offense. It's just that we want to show you how to disagree and how to agree. So yeah. Good.
Yes.
Okay, first statement. The internet is the best way to do your shopping.
Well, I disagree.
Okay, why?
And I disagree because I think people should focus on shopping in their cities or local shops. Of course, if there are sometimes not every product is available, but normally
that's a good point, yeah.
It is possible to order, or you try to not use the product. In some cases it is also possible, and I try to reduce ordering from online shops.
Okay, I see your point, yeah. But have you ever thought about how comfortable it is to just do online shopping at home with the internet? I mean, what about this? What do you think about that?
Yeah, at the beginning, of course, it was very comfortable. So when online shopping became more popular, it was very convenient since it allowed me to order things I've wanted for a long time, for example.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, I started to use them more, but now I think it is possible to get the things I need also in a local shop or in a local music store, or
Good
depends
point.
on what you want, of course. But I think it's very important to reduce, especially CO2 emissions that are, of course, caused by the transport.
I haven't
Sometimes,
thought about that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. I'm just thinking about, oh, it's so comfortable and I can get it all day long, so I don't have to wait until the shop opens or closes.
yeah,
But that's a good point. Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
opening and broadening my mind. Next one. So, cars should be banned from cities. What do you think?
Yes, I do agree.
Okay.
But it depends on how the infrastructure is in this specific city.
I agree with you because it's good for, of course, for the air and for, I think, people living there, but they really have to look that there are enough parking
Yeah,
spots outside the city and a lot of public transportation.
exactly. Yeah, that's the main problem, I think.
Yeah, I think the infrastructure is not. I mean, in Innsbruck there are a lot of buses, so maybe it would work if there were more like, parking lots out on the outskirts of Innsbruck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Good.
Cool.
What do you think? So you can also give us your
Write
opinion
us
on this
some comments here.
controversial topics. Good. Number 3 now. It is the children's responsibility to look after their parents when they get old.
Yeah, to a certain amount, yes, of course.
Okay.
Since
I don't agree because they. So that's not my opinion. I hope you know that. Because it's not our fault that our parents wanted to have kids. So.
Yeah, it's also a good point, but I don't understand that is a point to discuss actually. But of course, opinions are different.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you disagree?
I disagree to this
Okay.
statement, not with you.
Okay.
Of course, with you too. So
Oh yeah.
since you agree.
Yeah, me too. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Next one. Obese people, obese is like starkes Übergewicht, Adipositas. Obese people should pay higher taxes.
Very different topic, I think.
It is a difficult topic, but do you agree or do you disagree?
I do disagree. Since nowadays we have a very, very strong healthcare system, and even if there are people that cause more
Costs?
costs and need more treatment, we live in a welfare state, and
Definitely, yeah.
it's everything was and has been predicted, so it is possible.
Yeah.
Since every person should be able to.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I agree with you. But because to my mind, it's also like, yeah, if you want to let obese people pay higher taxes, then what about people who smoke, or what about people who drink? And I don't think it's a good idea to categorize people because of their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if they take strong drugs, I mean that's another. But still, it's an illness in a way. So, yeah, okay. Now, last but not least, our last statement to discuss, and also for you to discuss.
No, nobody discusses, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe they discuss at home.
Yeah, we hope so.
We hope so. So locals shouldn't complain about tourists.
I partly disagree.
Okay, why so?
So because I do understand that locals complain about tourists,
Yeah, me too, yeah.
but on the other hand, tourism is very important for
Yeah.
us,
I
or
see your point, yeah.
for
I mean,
countries such
especially,
as Austria,
yeah, especially
or-
as a country as Tyrol or
Yeah.
Innsbruck is, yeah, that's a big industry sector.
Mm.
Is it an industry sector? Yeah, tourism is a
yeah.
yeah.
Do think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think very difficult.
Yeah, I'd said really controversial statements, really difficult to discuss. But yeah, I mean, on the one hand, of course, you can complain about, I don't know, if there's a lot of mass tourism, if there are, if it's very crowded all the time, if there, I don't know if tourists, a lot of traffic, a lot of trash, and that's of course something to complain about. But still, tourists bring a lot of money, especially to places like Innsbruck. But yeah.
Yeah. Things to consider, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I think that's it with the statements.
Just
So maybe you
look.
can also think of some statements. Can you just
Switch back?
yeah, switch back to the statements?
Yes, of course.
So here you can see them. Here you can see me.
Sorry.
Now, here you can see them once again. So there are 5 statements. So it's about internet, about media, yeah, and about the environment, about social ties, relationships, and also about food and nutrition, and about tourism. So topics that are very relevant to you, relevant for you and for your A levels. So maybe you can also think of some very controversial statements, not only for fun and for yourself, but also maybe to ask your to ask the examination board. So maybe you can think of a very controversial statement, or you use one of them and ask this the examination board. I think they would be very impressed. Yeah, good. If we haven't any questions, no?
No, we haven't got any
I
questions.
think then that's it for today. Thank you for having us. And we'll see each other next Wednesday. There will be 2 demonstration exams. Yeah, it will be great. And yeah, good. So please, if you enjoyed the stream, then hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel, because we post a lot of videos, and I hope they are helpful for you. And we would be really lucky if you leave us some comments to improve our channel, or just to talk with you and to exchange some info. Yeah, good. That's it. Bye bye. Have a nice evening, and we'll see each other on Wednesday.